I'm Mark Callan, Mr. Saltwater Tank, coming to you on behalf of SaltwaterAquarium.com, and this is Mr. Saltwater Tank R.U.F. Raw, uncut, first impressions. Taking a first look today at the Eshopps AQUA-FIX coralline colored adhesive. All right, I don't think this is a coral glue. This says AQUA-FIX is a quick bonding hydraulic cement based coralline colored adhesive specifically designed for joining live rock together, as well as limestone and ceramic based rock for aquarium display use. Okay, so this sounds like a mortar, sounds a little different than epoxy, which I'm not a fan of. Let me put this disclaimer on here first. My experience with most aquatic mortars and epoxies are, they have good intentions, but they don't work that great. They never really seem to hold. So in the past, the only time I would use a product like this, if I was using it in conjunction with super glue or like a zip tie. If I wanted to get like a really big arch, then I would zip tie that arch to a rock and then put some kind of mortar or epoxy to it, because I found that this stuff doesn't hold on its own. So let's see how to use it. How to use: mix a small amount of AQUA-FIX compound with water until a putty-like consistency is achieved. Then start joining your rock immediately. Dry joining is recommended, meaning they want you to join dry pieces of live rock together out of the water. For underwater rock joining, turn off all circulation pumps and allow 15 minutes to cure. Okay, so I've got to add some water to this to make a putty. I don't think that's a good idea to do that over my wife's favorite area rug. So I'm going to head downstairs into my fish room where I can make a mess, and it doesn't matter. And I'll grab some live rock, some dry rock rubble, and let's put this thing to the test. All right, we're down here in my fish room. I've got a working surface. Opened up the AQUA-FIX from Eshopps. Got my little container to mix stuff in some R.U.F dry rock rubble. Let's see what it takes to do this stuff. I've never used this stuff before. I have no idea how much I should make, so I might have a lot left over. If I do, too bad you guys and gals aren't closer. I could give you some, although it says you need to work on this stuff in about 15 minutes, so there's not enough time for most of you to come over anyway. All right, so let's add some water to this. I'm just going to mix this up with a toothbrush. I have no idea how much water I should add. This looks like it's going to be a little too liquidy, so probably got to go back and add some more adhesive in here. Yeah, this looks like a lavender milkshake or something. All right, let's add some more. Like you said, this is a raw, unedited show. I haven't practiced with this stuff. I've never worked with it. We're just throwing some stuff in here and we're seeing what we get. Because it said it wants it a putty-like consistency. I'm definitely not there. I'm getting to like very wet concrete, as you can see in here, but I'm not, definitely not into a putty. All right, so we're gonna add some more. I will say at this point, definitely you don't need as much water as you think you might need. So go heavy on the adhesive, easy on the water. There we go. Now we're getting thicker. I wouldn't say this is putty. I'm assuming when they say putty, they mean like silly putty, like mostly dry, but still formable. All right, so this is kind of like yogurt at this point. I don't think it's there yet. Definitely go easy on the water if you're going to use this stuff. All right, I've got some more dry material in here. Now I might have put in too much adhesive, but again, all it says is putty. I haven't looked and see if there's any videos. I'm walking into this just like you would to see what it's like to work with this stuff. All right, at this point, I mean, it might be maybe a little wet for putty, but I'm going to stir it up a little bit, try to mix it up a little bit more. I don't think I could put in any more adhesive and not go overboard. So let's give this a good stir and see. So you can see like it's not falling off when I shake it. So I'm going to say that's borderline putty. So what I'm going to do, we have a piece of live rock. We have another piece of live rock. This guy will stain on its own, but there's no way in heck that this is going to stand up on its own. So I'm going to put some adhesive here, stick it on here, and then set it like this. Now I'm going to be fair. I'm not going to expect this stuff to hold this in 30 seconds. I may have to put this maybe supported by the faucet for the night or something, and then we'll come back in the morning or in a couple hours and see what this is like. So here we go. We're just going to grab some adhesive here and just kind of pour it out there a little bit. It reminds me of like Christmas cookie sugar frosting. That sounds good. Not the holidays yet. All right. So we got some on here. I'm going to stick some on here. And let's just stick these two together and see what I get. All right. So let's be fair. Let's make an effort to join these two. I'm going to kind of make a seam to give this more bonding action. Now, I'm not expecting it to do anything at this point, so let's just see what it'll do. Is this even, wow, okay. So it's giving me a little bit of holding power already. I mean, I'm just holding the base here, and this thing is not falling over. So that's impressive. This is good. I'm liking that because if you're working with your aquascape and you want to test an idea, then you don't have to wait for this to cure a fair amount before you see if you like it. So that's holding that up. Now what I want is for this to sit naturally. Now I'm letting this base piece here kind of slit where it wants to naturally sit. I don't expect this to hold, but it's giving it some adhesive already, qualities which I like. So I'm going to stick this guy up here. Let's make sure that doesn't rotate. Whoop, wrong way. Wrong, unedited, there you go. So we're gonna leave that like that for the night. Maybe I come back in a couple hours if I'm still awake. Let's see how this thing holds overnight or in a couple hours. See what kind of adhesive power we really get out of the AQUA-FIX from Eshopps. So I'll be back. All right, 24 hours later, this AQUA-FIX stuff is fully cured per the directions. I actually read them, thank you very much. See what it looks like. All right, it's definitely a light coralline algae colored, maybe a little more purple than what we'd expect from coralline algae, but I mean, this is better looking than white or even gray epoxy stuff. It's definitely holding this piece firmly. There's no way that this was sitting like on upper piece was sitting on the lower piece like this. So it's doing its job. You can turn it this way and it's holding it. So I would expect that. Now, let's see how strong this stuff really is. I'm going to try to break it. Before I do that, nothing else I really want to say about this. I like that it's holding. It appears to be strong, easy to use. So let's see how strong this really is. So let me just try to tear. I'm going to go light here, and then I'm going to kind of crank it up. Let's try to break this and see just how strong it is. You know, let's do this another way. Let's throw some weight on this. So that's probably a couple pounds of rock that I just raw, uncut. There you go. This didn't break. The rock fell off. Let's try that again. All right. I am just holding on to the base. This piece of branch rock is only held by the AQUA-FIX stuff. I feel like it's like rock Jenga here. So I put a couple pounds on. It's holding it well. Okay, that's good. I'm happy with that. I would have no concern with putting coral on here and worrying about this falling off. Now let's try to break this. Let's tear out a little bit. I'm going to go gentle at first. Giving this a fair amount of pressure. It's not breaking, which is I'm happy about. This stuff is actually holding. Let's try to really break this. Okay, now I'm going to try to actually go at it really hard and see if I can break it. Get it? I'm trying to get this to pop apart. I want to see just how strong it is. Okay. At this point, I'm short of putting this in a vise and cranking on it. This stuff is strong. I have no concerns about this holding on to rocks, even if you had a big arch like this. No concerns about it. I don't think stuff is going to wear down in time. We'd have to put it in a tank and see, but look, this is, I can't break it apart. No matter what I do, I'm going to break the rock before I break this seal. So, like what I see with this AQUA-FIX stuff, a couple words of advice. Use less water than you think. It doesn't take much. Let it cure for the full 24 hours. I was tempted to fiddle with it last night after it sat for a couple hours, but I let it sit. This stuff has been sitting for 24 hours. Definitely strong. I like that it's purple. I mean, the purple color could be a little different shade, but look, it's better than gray. It's better than having super glue, or even a zip tie like I used to use. Now, I'll say this. If I was doing some crazy big arch, what I'd probably do is drill some holes, put a zip tie, get that ready, then put the AQUA-FIX stuff and then cover the zip tie in the AQUA-FIX. Zip tie is just going to give me just a little bit more stain power, just to ease my mind. I'm going to encase in the AQUA-FIX so that zip tie won't potentially break down in salt water, which it really won't anyway, but maybe it'll get brittle, won't hurt. So I would start using this stuff. Maybe I'll start throwing this into builds, start fiddling with it more, do some different rock work, because I would trust this stuff. It's going in my Aquascape toolbox.